Your mom and dad. Your mom and dad. Your mom and dad. Your mom and dad.
Well, welcome home, family.
Welcome home, family.
It's your mom and dad.
It's your mom and dad.
Hello.
Good morning.
Welcome. We're applauding to an empty studio today.
I know.
Lee could not be with us. Uncle Lee is not here.
He is ill.
He is ill.
He said he was coughing a lot and he doesn't feel good.
Uncle Lee, sending you love.
And Lee's a trooper. You know, if he's out, that means he's wrecked.
I know.
You know what I mean? Because he always pulls through. So thoughts and prayers.
Thoughts and prayers to Uncle Lee. Also, if he was feeling okay, it probably would be better for him not to be in the studio today, because I just started my period about 3 hours ago and I am an emotional wreck right now. So if Lee's around, he is my emotional buddy. Like this is the fact of the matter, family. After every episode we record, Lee and I probably talk for about an hour afterwards and just like talk about our feelings, where we're at, process everything. And if he was around right now, if I just would look at him, I'd probably start crying because my love for him and our
Lee,
connection
get over here. Lee, get over here. I need you.
So at any point,
Lee, where are you?
At any point, I start sobbing during this episode. That's why. I mean, I've already cried. It's so funny because I didn't used to be a big crier during my period times. And in the past year, man, oh my gosh, the first day or the day before my period, I am weep city. In fact, I've already cried this morning about 7 to 8 times because I was rewatching over and over again Halle Bailey, you know, the Little Mermaid, her live Part of Your World performance.
Oh my gosh, you love that. Jess will watch that. Like, I'll just be hearing it from different parts of the room. And I'll be like, is she watching that again? She watches it probably 3 or 4 times a day.
I watch her perform the live version of Part of Your World over and over again on loop. And if you have not watched her live performance, do so immediately. It is probably the most gorgeous live performance I've ever seen. She's this generation. She's going to be a massive icon. Yeah. It is so emotional. I'm watching it on loop, sobbing. And in fact, last night, I was in bed before I knew the period was going to hit. I was in bed watching it on loop. And Evan was in his bathroom, which is almost connected, to our bedroom. And all of a sudden he pops in and it's like midnight. And Evan's like, are you singing in here?
Dude, you guys, she's tears rolling down her face. She's singing with the video. So it's just like, look at that stuff, isn't it neat? And I'm hearing it. And you can hear the difference between like a human voice in the room versus like a video. So I'm like, I'm used to hearing a video, so my brain's kind of turned off. And then all of a sudden I start hearing a human voice. And at first I'm thinking, is she on the phone with someone? Is like something going on? Is she talking to herself? And then I like put my ear to the door and I just hear like, what's that sound? And I'm like, and I peek open the door and I'm like, are you okay? And tears rolling down her face. She's just singing the Little Mermaid song. And then she basically looks at me like I'm crazy. She goes, what? And I go, what do you mean, what? Are you singing? And she goes, yeah, I'm just singing. And also, this isn't like Jess sings all day. And so it's like normal for her to just be singing songs
at midnight
in bed quietly. And then she kind of starts like basically like gaslighting me. She's going like, what? What's weird about that? And I'm like, what do you mean what's weird about that? It's 12 o'clock at night and you're singing Little Mermaid, like not like you're actually singing it too. It's not, she's going like this. She's kind of like, part of that world. And I'm going, and then she's looking at me like I'm crazy. And I'm going like, okay, I'm going to be honest with you. Like, this is weird. Like, you're fully singing the song by yourself. And then she's like, what? That's not weird. Like, instead of just accepting the fact that it was bizarre, she's gaslighting me into like, why is it weird for me? And I'm going, Okay, we need to get back on planet Earth here. This is not something normal for you.
I thought that I was singing quietly, so I didn't think there was any chance that you would hear me. I had no idea that my tone is so powerful that it was so resonating through the house. You know, I guess maybe some of that past theater training, I didn't realize that it was hitting the back of the room. I thought I was.
Oh, I see. Okay, so you were projecting to the back of the room. You were using your training.
Just because I don't see a physical audience there doesn't mean that I'm not always
the
just
world
trying to
is your
perform.
audience. The dogs are in their cages. They're like, what's happening to Mom? Is she okay? Mom's lost it.
So that's where I'm at today. So if you need a good cry, a good emotional surge, I mean, check out that live performance. Holy smokes. I do think I probably watched it at this point 250 times.
Yeah.
And that's not an exaggeration. So.
Well, it is gorgeous and it is incredible. So I don't blame you for enjoying the performance. But please, when you do something completely out of character, gaslight me into thinking that is not strange. All right? At least give me the satisfaction of being like, yeah, that was a little off character and I went for it and I had fun. But don't look at me like, what? What's possibly strange about singing full out at 1 a.m.?
Okay, first of all, the time's getting later and you use the term gaslight too much in the first 5 minutes of this episode. All right. Well, we've got some things to talk about today. Namely, we're coming at you on a Friday. Coming at you on a Friday. And we are going to be discussing Vanderpump Secrets Revealed episode. There were definitely a few nuggets in there that we need to talk about.
And it was also just like the final thing. So we didn't want to like, you know, because next week we start the cast bios for this. So we didn't want to like, we wanted to wrap it up, you know, with a nice bow, make sure we saw all the content, talked about everything. So we felt like it was necessary.
So, you know, numerous things call home all of this.
Yes,
it's going to be a fun one today. An emotional one for me, but a fun one. All right, but first, we have to take a quick pause. Family support for today's episode comes from Jenny Kane, and perfect timing because there is no more dreamy summer outfit than one from Jenny Kane. Jenny Kane is a California brand through and through, and their summer staples make getting dressed easier than it has ever been before.
Jenny Kane believes in the art of simplicity. They focus on comfort, quality, and timeless design, so you can curate a wardrobe that never goes out of style. Plus, everything in their collection is designed so intentionally that you can style pieces together without a second thought.
Yep, I love to pair a Jenny Kane dress, like their new day dress that is quickly becoming my go-to uniform, okay, with one of their classic sweaters for a look that's effortless and so easy to put together. Sweater-wise, I'm obsessed with their cashmere cocoon sweater, but trust, they do summer cotton better than anyone. The Chloe cardigan is my new favorite for beach days, and it truly is a forever piece. I know because of the quality and the classic style that I will have it and wear it for years to come, and that's what I love about everything from Jenny Kane. It's amazing. It's so timeless. Go online and check out their website and browse. It's the dreamiest.
They also have stunning collection of home essentials, timeless furniture pieces, cozy throws, perfectly curated decor, and the most incredible candles. Plus, they have an incredible rewards program where you can earn up to 10% back with every purchase, and joining is completely free. Find your forever pieces at jennykane.com. Our listeners get 15% off your first order when you use code MOMDAD at checkout. That's 15% off your first order, JENNIKAYNE.com. Promo code MOMDAD. Let getting dressed be one less thing to worry about.
Okay, so again, we're coming at you Friday. Typically, you know, we have our one episode a week. We drop it on Wednesday, but we thank you all so much for understanding. We had some really good family time for the past couple days. Like we've shared before, Evan has been working 24/7 for the past 2 months, and Ember just got out of school, and we're like, we need a couple days with some serious family time. So we appreciate that. But again, next week we have our typical back to Wednesday, Friday, 2 episodes, and we will let you know on Instagram. So keep updated. One of those episodes is going to be a cast bio episode. We're figuring out scheduling right now with some potential guests up in here. So we will let you know if that episode is coming out Wednesday or Friday, but it will be out one of those days. But we will have 2 episodes again next week, back to our regularly scheduled programming. And then the following week, first week of Charities season, which I have to tell you, ABC has been, and like the Bachelorette Instagram, they have been giving us a bunch of clips of the men in a very different way than they ever have before. Like we're getting these clips of some of the guys that we're going to see already getting to know who they are in their backstory a little bit,
Yeah.
which is amazing because that's always kind of been the thing where you're like, I'm not getting to know these people very well. And the Bachelorette Instagram already doing that and actually tagging these people for the first time ever is giving me hope that we are going to get to know some of these men very well. So very excited about that. And I also have been hearing around town that this is going to be a very good season.
So
Very
excited.
good season. And also hints that there might be numerous very amazing men that it might be a tough choice in the end.
We love a conflicted lead.
We love when the lead, I mean, we shout out to Charity. We want Charity to find love and find that person. But we love when there's a lot of great guys. We love when there's good options too, where it's not just
Yeah.
like, I don't know about how to let anybody
Which,
in here.
which, if I'm being honest, always shocks me because obviously I've never been on the show, but I always think to myself, if you're in a certain place, like maybe it's just my personality, but I feel like I just would know so clearly. But it
Well-
seems like that happens quite a bit where people don't know. But for me, I feel like it pretty early on, I'd be like, I like that person.
Well, I think that happens often. A lot of times the lead will come off afterwards and be like, I knew from the get that it was that person, but because of production and everything, they don't let it be obvious that that's
Right,
your first
right.
choice. And I think also production probably comes in and tries to do a little manipulation tactics by being like, well, what about this person? Have you
Sure.
not thought about them? And they're amazing. And they've said this, this, and this about you.
and maybe
then all
here's
of
a
sudden,
negative thing about the person you actually like in order to get you
so
off
they're
their
playing
trail.
the games
Okay.
behind the scenes. But also, too, again, when you think about the amount of time that's actually being spent,
Yeah.
you know who immediately you're probably the most drawn to chemistry-wise.
Yeah.
But when you're only spending little chunks of time here and there with someone, I could see myself becoming conflicted.
Yes.
Because also you're not in the real world too. I'm not able to scroll on this guy's Instagram to actually get a feel for what you're like in real life. I'm just seeing what you're presenting to me. I don't have the behind the scenes of what you're up to and what you like and what you're doing with your friends and
also
everything.
not seeing someone in the wild is huge.
100%.
I always think about that with these shows in general. It's like, it's like when you went to summer camp as a kid and you'd always fall in love, right? It was kind of like,
course.
it really was like
Summer camp love.
Summer camp falling in love.
Which was my favorite.
But right, you always kind of fell in love at summer camp. But it's such a fake reality that it's like, it's designed to make you have feelings quickly because you're in this concentrated situation. But like seeing them day to day, seeing how they follow up on things, seeing how they interact with your friends and family and how they work and how their work-life balances with your dating. Like there's so many elements that I bet coming off that show is kind of terrifying because you're like, is this person even remotely what they've been promoting?
Oh, can you imagine the first dinner, the first like one-on-one dinner
No
out and
cameras,
about?
just dinner. You're like, do we even like each other still?
Because even before when the show ends and they're only able to do their happy couple suites, right? So you're secretly with that person. You still aren't seeing them in more of a day-to-day situation. They're getting an Airbnb for you, so you're alone.
Yeah.
You're not like out at dinner seeing how they're interacting with a server or seeing how they're interacting in a stressful situation. You're just kind of secluded. So that first dinner out in public, that first getaway when you're not living in secret, trying to make sure that nothing is spoiled, has to be bizarre.
Totally.
Bizarre. Yeah, because like your example with summer camp, I legitimately remember numerous times going away for the like Christian camps.
Just thinking about me the whole time and
Thinking
oh
about
my
you the
God,
entire time, just like, oh my gosh, Evan, obsessed. But no, before we were dating, there were numerous times that I remember going away to these camps, 100% having the falling in love, meeting someone who I had never really gotten to know well from the church. And all of a sudden we're like, oh my gosh, I'm vibing with this person. And genuinely on the bus ride back from camp, seeing
like,
how he's acting with his friends, like on the ride back and being like, oh, I have the ick already.
But you know what's
Already.
10 times hotter than that? Falling in love with someone from a different church.
Oh yeah.
That is fun. You know what I mean? Because it's like such a mystery. Am I ever gonna see you again?
You become pen pals.
You come from a different land, which is an hour away. When you're a kid, might as well be in a different country. And it's like, it's so like just like terrifyingly amazing where it's like, I met you, I have no idea like what your world is
and
like.
when you and I were at summer camp, we didn't have Instagram, Facebook, all of that.
So it's a complete mystery.
So it was like you are genuinely writing letters, maybe doing a phone call, because that was when texting was in its early days too.
Yeah,
oh my
so
God,
you would just have to hop on a landline and call someone. But man, that feeling of like, and then you don't see them for the rest of the day, but you'll see them like at the nighttime bonfire. And then they're across the way and they're like talking to you and you're looking at them and they're talking to their friends and you're like, are they talking about me? Oh my gosh, that's insane.
Yes, it was. I'm gonna start crying again.
How come I'm old now?
Start sobbing.
Part of this world.
Anywho, so excited for charity season starting in 2 weeks. And like I said, hearing very good things. So excited about that.
I'm excited for cast bios next week.
And I believe that filming is still happening in Bachelor in Paradise right now. So excited about that to come after.
Yes.
We'll see who we get.
Gosh, we love the chaos on the beach.
Bachelor in Paradise is my favorite.
It's so fun.
I hope we get a good cast. And I'm sure a lot of the people we'll get to know from charity season.
Yes.
I'm sure there's going to be a good handful of the men from charity season. So anywho, all right. So Secrets Revealed, Vanderpump Rules. I do want to say this first about Vanderpump. Evan and I did watch the first 2 episodes. Randomly, we watched it of Stars on Mars.
Yes.
Which, if you don't know, they've been promoting it like crazy. And it's a bunch of reality TV stars, athletes, all of this, who are in a simulation of being on Mars and like having to handle potential emergencies that would happen. It's kind of like Big Brother, but in the sky. But actually, I think filming in Australia.
Yeah. It's kind of a dumb show, but it's kind of fun.
But
wouldn't you say though? It's kind of dumb.
Oh no, it's ridiculous.
Like it's kind of stupid. Like you're like, why am I watching B-level celebrities? Like
some of them are A.
But I'm just saying, it is strange, right? It is you're kind of watching this being like. And the amount of money they clearly put into this show is crazy. The set is
set's
insane.
incredible. And the challenges are pretty intense,
and
think
about this, the salaries they must be paying these people.
Yeah.
Like celebrities to come onto a show, you got to pay them a lot of money.
Because we have some big athletes on this show.
And that's the thing too. It's one thing to have a celebrity, but these athletes, they were making like $30 million a year. So like to get them on a show has to be like a lot.
I would love to know the salary differences on that show. There's no way that they're all getting paid the same.
There's Tom Schwartz and then there's like A-level athletes. And you're like, okay, well, I mean, I don't think Tom Schwartz was making 30 mil a year for a decade.
But he is coming right off of Scandival, so maybe they're like, well, this is big news. It's big news. But okay, Tom Schwartz though on Stars on Mars.
Yeah.
A few things about him. So one is that he did discuss Sandoval a little bit. And in fact, we get nuggets from Tom Schwartz. Now, this was filmed actually somewhat recently. They did a really quick turnaround with the show.
Yeah.
So they filmed it and it was airing pretty soon after they filmed it. So they filmed it after the reunion and everything. And we see Tom Schwartz say that he's pretty much done with Sandoval. That's what he's alluding to.
How do you have that when you own a restaurant together?
I don't know what that's going to look like. And I also don't know if this is Tom Schwartz trying to...
Being Mr. Fake Nice Guy.
Being the dude who's just like going to phone it and be like, well, me standing by him did not work out.
Yeah, this has been bad for me.
This has not gone well for me. I tried plan A, B, and C. I also tried all of Sandoval's, football directions during the reunion, and that didn't go well either. So maybe I'm just going to be like, who knows?
The thing about Schwartz too is like Schwartz is the guy who is a great hang, who you want to be. He's a great invite to a backyard barbecue. Mm-hmm. Like Schwartz is perfect for that. What we've truly discovered is Schwartz. That's where you should keep him.
Yes, you don't bring him close to you.
No, you don't bring him close to you, and you don't depend on him.
No.
But as just a backyard barbecue addition, the guy is awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if don't bring him into your personal space. Don't let him be the person you depend upon for help.
Don't marry him.
Don't marry him. But if you want just a good hang that comes back and cracks a beer and everyone goes, yo,
but that's
where that guy lives.
But that's why we have the conversation time and time again. And like so much of the frustration that Katie held is it's like Tom Schwartz always gets away with everything. He's never held accountable for his actions. And all the time on Vanderpump, when he was making out with other people while they were together, right? Somehow the audience would direct frustration towards Katie and Schwartz would get away with everything because he just do the, I don't know, guys. In fact, there's even scenes on Stars on Mars when he's making mistakes and he's kind of like, well, guys, you know, I just look at the glass as half full and I did this, and everyone's cracking up. And in fact, I believe they called him Angel Tom on the set because, again, no one's actually really getting to know this guy. And it's like, oh, he's a fun hang. And he seems like a nice guy.
He's very likable. And I think that's the thing about Schwartz is like when you just like, again, if you're not bringing him into your deep circle, but you're just at backyard barbecuing, the dude is extremely charming. He's extremely likable. He also, I think the main thing is he's very non-confrontational. And so you get no energy from him that like he's going to call you out or have a strong opinion about something that could cause problems. So he's really good at like creating this facade that like, I'm helpless and harmless. There's nothing I could do that could hurt you.
And you're safe with me.
And you're safe with me. Like, he lulls you in. No. But you could tell that he's been so addicted to becoming likable that like people, I honestly do think that like if you know someone who is always likable, then they're not really going to ever stand for anything. So therefore like they're always just going to chase being loved over dependability, having your back,
and doing the right thing that can be tough.
That's
sometimes
what I'm saying. They're not going to make the hard choices. They're just going to give whoever is in front of them what they want so that they're loved.
Right. Well, it's the whole thing then with Sandoval and Ariana, where it's like he's keeping the secret and he's not making a choice and telling Ariana or like drawing a line in with Sandoval, and he's holding on to the secret, but then also not wanting to get in trouble with Ariana and the cast and playing this like half ground situation where then it ends up being like, no, this was terrible.
People pleasing at its highest level.
Yeah.
Truly. Just when you're living for everyone else to adore you, you know, you kind of end up, it's kind of interesting. He's kind of like a tall tale on like, if you, let's say you're someone who struggles with this a little bit, like total, like people pleasing, which I know it's a major thing.
Hi.
Right. That it can be a temptation to do that. The problem is you kind of wake up one day alone, because you realize that no one ever felt like you truly had their back. So then no one truly trusts you. And over time, if you're in your 40s, 50s, but it kind of works in your 20s where everyone's just kind of finding stuff out. But then as the older you get, the more you realize that kind of loyalty, dependability, strength, those are the things that kind of rise to the top as you get older. And you see him now in his 40s and he's like,
I don't
maybe
know.
late 30s, early 40s. You kind of see him going like, whoa, and now I don't really have my best friend. I don't have my group of friends anymore.
My wife.
It's kind of interesting. It's kind of a warning to that lifestyle that like it will run out on you.
Yeah. Now he also did go on Jax and Brittany's podcast, who they both used to be on Vanderpump Rules, and shared similar sentiments. And that podcast came out, I think maybe 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And he said the same thing, that he was pretty much like, I believe in that podcast, he said something like, we need to take a break. Like there needs to be a pause.
So he's on tour. He's not even at your restaurant working. So I think that Sandoval already kind of like made that call. I'm
sure that's probably a reality that's hitting too, where he's like our world, because of your actions, and then honestly, the follow through of my actions of not standing ground and doing the right thing, our world is on fire, and you go on tour. And you're touring the world, touring the United States in your outfits, going to karaoke bars, singing. I mean, what are you up to, my guy?
When
our restaurant's on fire with the Yelp reviews and everything's collapsing.
Schwartz got destroyed in this process when you actually think about it. Because it's like he ended up, his partner, who he kind of was like, he clearly was like out for himself in the way that like he was going, I want to protect the Sandoval thing because I also have a business with him. I think if there wasn't the business, I think there would have been, he would have retreated maybe earlier. But I think the business thing, he was trying to figure out, okay, how do I keep the business thing going? How do I keep the relationship with my business partner, but also I keep my friends, blah, blah. All that people pleasing, all that indecisiveness left him with none of the friends. His best friend, who he has the business with, they're not connected with, but he still has to run the business with him. And his friend isn't even running the business with him. His friend, who owns half of it, is on tour doing his own thing. So Sandoval is literally alone running the business.
Or Schwartz is, yeah.
Sorry, Schwartz is now just alone running the business.
Yes.
It's kind of gnarly. It's kind of like, oh,
so he went to Mars. He was like,
so he's like, well, I guess I'll do my own thing.
I'm going to Mars. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and I think that it's definitely in reference to Schwartz. There's like the people pleasing element, but then also what we've talked about too, where I feel like there is a through line between Sandoval and Schwartz, which is like, I just want to have a good time, and I'm going to burn any relationship and peace out on any friendship or loyalty so that I can have fun, because I don't want to deal with any of this. I just want to
have fun. Mm-hmm. It's never growing up, really. Mm-hmm. So interesting.
Mm-hmm. So that's what he said on Brittany and Jax's podcast. Okay. Another interesting part of Brittany and Jax's podcast was that Brittany brought up, it just is so Sandoval. You know, I don't know the guy. And when I heard this, I was like, I know this guy. This is so Sandoval. Brittany said she hadn't heard from him text-wise in a long time. Like, I think it was numerous years, actually. Yeah. And the last time that she had reached out to him, it was on a birthday or something like that and said happy birthday, or maybe he reached out to her. Someone, there was one birthday text and then nothing else for like 2 years. And she said then she receives a message from him, a text, post all of this, that says, hey, Brittany, I know you have family in such and such. It was some state like Michigan, Wisconsin, something. I know you have family and friends in such and such. Just so you know, I will be playing at this venue tonight if they are interested in coming.
It's just so egotistical to be like, by the way, I'm playing nearby. You should come. It's just like, if you're going to reach out to someone and offer them an opportunity, make it worth their while. You know what I mean?
Sure. Like, is there any money involved in this?
Yeah, like, you're going to pay me to show up? Can you pay me my normal, my Instagram fees or whatever?
Yeah, will you pay my family my influencer rate to show up? You know, because I'm sure Brittany's family and friends are like, yeah, because the in the words of Sandoval, it would be a bad look for us to show up at your concert. Like, what do you think's going to happen? You think these people are going to have their friends and family show up during all of this? And then make it so clear that, like, oh, we're taking a stand in one camp.
We're supporting.
Like, come on.
It's just the ego is just off the chain.
It's through the roof.
God. Come watch me play a bunch of covers, man.
One of the members of the family sent me a TikTok that is, I think it's going viral right now, and it's of a woman filming her boyfriend who is a professional drummer. She's showing him clips of Sandoval's show for the first time, and he starts sitting down, kind of watching it, and like 2 seconds in, he's standing up this close to the TV being like, no, see, he's not singing there. Oh my God. It's just like doing the professional musician rundown of what's going on, just like agitated and stressed watching the entire thing. It was so funny.
The more clips I see,
I know Evan's, but by the way, that's again, what Evan was sending me for about a year. The only thing he'd ever send me on Instagram is dog videos. And now all I'm getting from him are clips of Sandoval's shows. That's all I'm getting at all hours of the day and night.
And I'll be honest with you, it has nothing to do with me being like a music snob or like a performance snob or anything like that. It just has to do with the brazen ego on stage while doing something incredibly unimpressive. I think that's what it is. It's like the band is impressive, but him as a person, what he is doing is so unimpressive that it's just hilarious, the ego he has. You know what I mean?
Should
we go see him?
No.
I just feel like I want to go into disguise and go see him, more for the fact of like, I need to be in the room to experience the atrocity live. You know what I mean? It's like, I need to just feel it. Because live, it's so much gnarlier. So it's like, I just need to be in the space when he like takes his shirt off and shoves his like sweaty body onto someone and be like, this is actually happening in front of me, 10 feet away from me. Like, I want to know what he's saying in between songs. Like, what's his banter like on stage? You know what I mean? Like, Gosh.
I hear you, but
You know what I'm
I
saying?
can't bring myself.
I don't want to support
That's
it.
in some way supporting it.
I
You know, because
know.
you're paying for tickets. I
know.
can't do that.
I gotta figure out a way to just. I want to see the whole show.
Someone wear a camera for that.
Yeah, can someone send me like a video recording of the whole show? Just
Yeah,
so
I need
can
the
watch.
entire thing.
I want to see the intro because you know when he walks out, he's probably got some intro move that he does where he does like a backflip. And it just goes, welcome to hell, or like something like that. You know, he goes, welcome to the biggest orgasm of your life. And then he comes out and he's just like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like he probably this show, it's Sandoval and the orgasms. And he's just like, every song is that we're gonna hit the G spot for you, baby. I don't even know it, but I'm just saying he's the kind of guy that would say that shit. So I just want to see like the stuff he does. It's like, who cares about the covers? It's the banter. It's like, when he walks out and goes, "What's up?" You know what I mean? And it's like he's thinking he's just in a stadium, and it's just like 100 people being
Wisconsin!
like, "Yeah, can I get a fuck yeah?" And there are people there's like 4 people that go, "Yay!" And he's like, I want to hear this song meant a lot to me. You know, like that kind of banter in between the song. And he's just like, the first time I heard this song, Stacy's mom, it really meant a lot to me. Because I thought to myself, yeah, man, I'd love to bang Stacy's mom. Anyway, hit it, band. You know what I mean? Like, what? It's like, I want to know. Also, the songs he's choosing are just insane. Anyway, I could go on for hours.
Okay, so that's currently some of the updates. Other than that, there actually haven't been too many post interviews and such that I've heard from people or nuggets coming out. Part of me is wondering, because I believe, again, that they're starting to film very soon, if they were allowed to be going on a bunch of podcasts leading up to it. And now if maybe they want them a little locked down.
Since they're going to be filming.
To keep that energy in the bubble of what's going to happen filming wise and all of that. So we will see. But I have heard it seems like everyone's coming back. That's the word on the street.
They probably made it so financially like they couldn't say no. They probably because it had to be like, how are we going to convince some of these people to come back?
Yeah, I didn't hear that there was going to be an up in salary. But
maybe they just said, we're going to sue you if you don't come back. I don't know. Who knows?
I don't know.
But it's more like, because certain people where it's like it all makes sense for the entire cast except for a couple of them where it's like, are they going to maybe, or you know what, the ego on someone like Sandoval too is he thinks, I'll win them all back. I'll win all my friends back. I'll win the crowd back.
Or he's going to come back
with
massive villain energy and he's going to be like, I'm just going to lean into it, man. And then he just shows up in a full cape every single episode, like a full vampire cape, and is just going to lean so hard into that.
Okay, I like that too.
But it seems like everyone's coming back.
Yeah.
Or again, that's the word on the street. So we shall see. We shall see.
Insane.
All right, quick pause before we get into the actual secrets of episode. Family. Okay, so I have to tell you, the other day I was out with a friend who I see a lot, and during dinner she complimented my makeup and she was saying, I don't know quite what it is, but I love the way that you applied it. And guess who taught me to apply it that way, everyone? The Bobby Brown on Masterclass. Okay, Masterclass is incredible. With Masterclass, you can learn from the best to become your best anytime, anywhere, and at your own pace. Annual memberships start at $10 a month, and you get unlimited access to every instructor, thousands of online lessons, exclusive content, insights, and much more.
There are over 180 classes to pick from, everything from comedy with Steve Martin to relationship intelligence with Esther Perel, with new classes added every month.
And don't forget the class I'm taking about makeup and beauty with Bobby Brown, okay? For example, in this class, Bobby Brown teaches you the tips, tricks, and techniques for applying simple, natural makeup that makes you feel beautiful in your own skin. You even get an inside look into Bobby's personal makeup kit for daytime and nighttime looks. There's this 1-minute makeup moment. There's so much good stuff. I didn't even know that they had something like that on Masterclass. It's amazing. They have everything on Masterclass.
Oh my gosh. Find practical takeaways that you can apply to your life and at work. Gain new skills in as little as 10 minutes. either on your phone, computer, tablet, smart TV, and even audio mode to listen on the go.
I like watching a lesson or two when Evan's driving down to see our family and I'm in the passenger seat. It's the perfect amount of time and it makes my commute feel more productive. How much would it cost, for real, to take one-on-one classes from the world's best? Well, with Masterclass annual memberships, it only would cost you $10 a month.
Get unlimited access to every class. And right now, as a Your Mom and Dad listener, you can get 15% off when you go to masterclass.com/momdad. That's masterclass.com/momdad for 15% off of an annual membership. Masterclass.com/momdad.
By the way, with Father's Day around the corner, Masterclass is a great gift idea.
Seriously.
Great gift idea. So support for today's episode comes from Honeylove. Truth of the matter is wedding season is upon us, which means your girl over here will be busting out some of my favorite dresses, and especially when those dresses are the short ones, I like to wear shapewear with them and avoid the panty lines too. And let me tell you, before I started wearing Honeylove shapewear, I was always wildly uncomfortable and pulling at it constantly. Do not get me started with attempting to take it off while using the bathroom situation. It was a nightmare. With Honeylove, all of that is solved. My personal fave is their best-selling Superpower Short. Their technology is phenomenal. It's designed to work with your body, not against it. This piece, by the way, the Superpower Short, also is a booty lifter. The boost bands on the back of the thigh give your bottom an amazing shape. It looks amazing. You won't have to worry about it rolling down, which is unheard of in shapewear, thanks to flexible boning that's hidden in the side seams. And let's talk the bathroom trips, okay? With Honeylove, their shapewear has a 100% cotton gusset, so you can skip the extra undies. Plus, it has a convenient opening in the panty area for super easy bathroom use. And oh my gosh, they also have bodysuits with built-in bust support that lifts without underwire. It's shapewear that's comfortable. Yes, you heard that right. It is comfortable. And Honeylove has more than just sculptwear. They also have incredibly comfortable bras, tanks, and leggings for everyday support. I wear the leggings constantly. They're like my most favorite. I'm always wearing those around the house. Treat yourself to the best shapewear on the market and save 20% off at honeylove.com/momdad. Use our exclusive link to get 20% off, honeylove.com/momdad. Again, that's using our exclusive link to get 20% off at honeylove.com/momdad. Okay, so let's talk about some hot spots in the Vanderpump Secrets Revealed episode. I mean, it's definitely interesting to see some of these scenes, especially a few of them, because what I had kind of forgotten about was that when they filmed all of this and then put it all together in post-production and everything, they did not know about what was going on.
Right.
So you're like, oh, there are going to be moments that now we look back on and go, oh shit.
Yeah.
That they took off and they left on the editing room floor because they're like, you know, why would we have that in there? That now we're seeing that's like, oh my goodness. Okay. But the first big scene that we see is Katie and Schwartz together.
Yeah. I was dying because the first scene is him in his bed. And you don't see who's in the bed at first, but you see a body pillow. And I just assumed it was Katie's body pillow. And then it zooms out and it's Schwartz with his pillow.
Yeah, it's cozy.
Yeah. It just killed me that he has a body pillow. I don't know why. It's just like, I need my body in there to come cozy with. And that just, I don't know, it just added to the Schwartz thing, you know, which
just
is
to the lore that is Tom Schwartz.
Just the lore of just like a full-blown body pillow in his bed. I don't know why. That was so funny to me.
Well, we're seeing them in their house before, like, you know, right during the beginning of the divorce, and they're still living together in this scene, and they're still living at the house before they're living in their separate apartments. And it was definitely an interesting scene because we just saw a little more of the raw feeling with everything going on. It was intense. The scene made me really sad.
Yeah. He walked right in and he was just like, hey, how you doing? Let's get some dinner.
He's like, let's order some sushi.
Yeah, you could tell that it's like, you know I cheated on you a lot of times and I know I did all this messed up shit, but maybe we could just, like, you know, it almost felt like maybe we could just kind of forget I did all that and we can just go back together. Almost vibe.
That was the energy, like hoping that maybe Katie would change her mind. We'll kind of
slowly just get back together. And then when he asked about if she's been on any dates and she's like, yeah, then he just like immediately he goes, ew. I shouldn't have asked this. And he starts crying. It was very sad.
No, that was
sad. Just like, ugh.
But it was definitely then interesting to me because it added to, not that I ever, I have always been firmly on Katie's side in this situation with the whole Raquel Tom Schwartz thing, where she was like, that person is off limits. Right. I've always been on her side, but it continued to add that feeling to it for me, because you see this conversation with them where you see exactly what she said was happening, where they're having open conversations about seeing other people. Mm-hmm. They seem to be walking away from this marriage in a way where they're able to be friendly with each other and move forward kind of as friends and have these conversations. But there were some boundaries that Katie put up that he stepped over those lines, and she felt absolute deep betrayal. Mm-hmm. And I just feel like you see that even more in this scene because of how you seeing what it could have looked like for them.
Yes.
Like you had this opening moment of, oh, this is what the end of your relationship could have looked like. If Tom Schwartz would have respected the boundaries that Katie set up and said, hey, just please not on this cast, not in the friend group, we're going to be good. And you feel that energy, like they would have been okay. Yeah. And he just, whether he knew about Sandoval and was trying to have Sandoval and Raquel's back and was faking this whole thing, or whether he was just like, fuck it, I'm just going to make out with Raquel and she's cute and we're vibing and I'm just going to say, Katie will get over it. It's like, no, this is what happens when you see somebody who's like, no, we're going to set up a boundary now. Our relationship is over and I want to be able to move through this and continue to be friends. But you broke that trust. You broke that boundary.
Yeah, it's that selfishness of like, going out of the friend group and going through all this, that sounds like a lot of work. But I have this girl here that kind of might make out with me, so I think I'm just going to do it because it feels good in the moment. And it's like, it's the same reason why he's divorced now. It's like clearly not making the tough choices. Like, hey, I kind of want to make out with this random girl. Maybe I shouldn't. And then you're just kind of constantly living in like dealing with repercussions of your actions.
Right.
And then not learning from them.
And Katie has said before where it's like, there were so many times where she had said, this is what I'm going to need from you. And because he didn't feel like doing it, it would be like, well, Bubba, but I want to go party instead. And it's like, all right, go party, but then we're not going to be in this relationship because this relationship, it's going to take work. Sometimes the relationships take work. It's not all just about like
just fun.
What's going to be fun for you.
Exactly.
So that was definitely a moment where I'm like, you felt it in your gut.
It was like the human level of the show, like
100%.
the show can feel very like you're just laughing at people and you're having fun and James is saying something insane and you're just whatever. But then in those moments, you're like, ooh, this is actually the real life moment when you're like sleeping. I mean, I'll be honest with you too, like there's no world where I could get divorced and unless it's completely mutual, both parties, which it wasn't, right? Katie decided I can't do this anymore. You've not prioritized me. You've not taken me, seriously, and you've not cared about my feelings. So we need to separate. And like for her to live, I feel like would be easier in the way that like, she's making the decision to end it. Where he's like, the fact that he just stayed there and lived there, I don't know. It's one of those, it's such a strange thing for months, right? Like 7 months or something like that.
Yeah, I don't remember.
But it's like, dude, just to like, I don't know. It's an interesting thing to kind of be the reason why the divorce happened and then stay in it.
Well, that's just what Sandoval did, right?
It's just such an interesting thing that these people are doing where it's like when you're the cause of the pain,
that you just are lingering.
Yeah, I feel like it's on you to get out of there. To like it's
let
again,
the person heal
it's
alone.
another selfish move to not be like, and I'm gonna get an apartment. You know what I mean? But just to stay and then like, or even remind them of your existence is reminding them of your mistakes and your betrayals, and it's just because it's not convenient for you at the time. It's just like, oof.
Yeah, I mean, and then. Throughout this, it was seeing him then break down on the bed and like sobbing again. It brought in that human like, oh my gosh. And then watching them in the ITMs and him crying. And then her moment too, where she's crying. Yeah. And she's like, it's so hard, but I know that this is what's going to be best for me. Like I'm going to come out of this and it's going to be the best thing for me.
Yeah.
All while, by the way, he's sobbing on the bed. and the dog is like humping something in the background. And I was a little distracted. I was like, maybe we could just take the little cute pup and like, you know, or maybe just turn the filming for a second. Like, no, I was like, can we just angle the filming a little bit, because he's bawling and I'm like having a moment where I'm like, oh gosh, this is like the real human piece. And then I just see the dog.
My God. Like, there's no way to be serious if you see that. Like, it's insane, dude. I don't know why that makes me laugh so hard.
The camera.
Just push it a little bit.
But then off of that too, we did have later in the episode conversations where we see Katie show up to a dinner that had, you know, Sheena there, Raquel, Ariana, Lala, and this was supposed to be a few days before Katie's trip to Vegas and Havasu. And we see the moment where Katie and Sheena kind of come face to face. Katie doesn't invite Sheena to the trip, but they have a kind of handshake moment a little bit, saying that, hey, we can deal with being in each other's presence. Hopefully we can kind of move forward. But Katie's saying in ITMs, and when she's talking, I believe, to Charlie, that she's like, the Sheena piece is the part that really hurt to me. And again, I think this was an important moment for us to see, because I know a lot of people had commentary being like, why are you more mad right now at Sheena than Raquel? Raquel's the one saying, I think I'm going to make out with Schwartz in front of your face. And Sheena is having the conversations with Schwartz on the podcast and all that. I think this was an important moment too, because like Katie said, Sheena, it hurt more with Sheena because I have a friendship with Sheena. She's like, I didn't really know Raquel's around, but I don't really have a close relationship with her. So sure, eventually it keeps escalating with Raquel to where Raquel is then like shutting Katie's mom down and being just so brutal and just instigating just more and more stress for Katie.
But again, to your point, it's like, she's kind of the enemy. So it's like you're expecting bad behavior from the enemy. You're not expecting the betrayal. And I think that's like to your point. It's like Ariana with Raquel. It's like the Lala James cheating thing with Raquel is like, you can't compare the two because Lala wasn't close with Raquel. And so when the cheating happened, it was like bad, but it also wasn't like the betrayal is such a level that, you know, you don't probably really get until you experience that, which is like, a trusted person betrays you. And it's like, that's why it makes so much sense that Katie is going so hard on Sheena, because it's like, when you're sitting there telling people your secrets and confiding them and crying on their shoulders through times in your life, and then they're the ones that don't have your back when it counts, that hurts so much more than someone you're not close with hurting you.
And we also then see too, though, after she's saying that, again, they kind of have this handshake moment of like, hey, let's try to move forward. I believe what we're seeing then is that these two people probably could have moved forward in a different way if then the Raquel piece wouldn't have been there. Because as Raquel continued to escalate the issues between Schwartz and Katie, then Sheena was then protecting Raquel more. And more people were like, we're taking Raquel's side, which then, of course, was more and more frustrating for Katie, being like, who am I? I'm the one who was the close friend here. And now, which again is another piece of what I think we see later on in the episode, where we hear James talking with Allie, and then Allie explaining how James felt to Lala and Katie. She's like, it wasn't about that he's still hung up on Raquel. It was the fact that everyone took Raquel's side. And he's like, who am I? I thought that I was your guys' friend for so long. I'm sure that's a lot of what Katie was feeling, where it's like, I've been part of this for so long and deeply entrenched with all of you, and somehow Raquel is winning you guys all over.
Who's the least close with everyone, like, why, you know?
Yeah. So that was interesting behind the scenes to see. And also, I will forever die on this hill. I have seen so many people make comments post this show and throughout the show about like Katie being hung up on this and needing to get over this. I will die on this hill.
Yeah.
She was with him for like 13 years.
Right.
They'd been married for years and years. Okay. If tomorrow you and I got a divorce, anything's going to set me off.
Right.
It's so fresh.
Yes.
Like, this is not some pretend relationship. Like, this is someone that they've been with for over a decade. They've been together for over a decade. anything setting me off. Like, there's no way. So these people, I think, having commentary about, oh, well, she needs to get over this, and why is she so hot with Raquel about all this before we knew everything. I'm like, are you joking? I would be burning Los Angeles down. The level of rage I would feel,
especially when you feel like some of your friends don't have your back.
Yeah,
and that's so frustrating. It's like the Larry. It's like Curb Your Enthusiasm when Larry and Susan get divorced, and all of his friends go, "We choose Susan," and they're like, "So we forgot to. We just wanted to kind of sit you down and let you know we choose Susan." And there's this like, "What? I introduced you guys." So just remember, being nice to people, you know what I mean? Because if one day it comes down to it, they may choose Susan.
Oh my God. So that was a lot of like the Katie Schwartz piece. We do see Tom. Another moment that just made me feel kind of sick was we see Tom and Ariana, both Toms and Ariana visiting the Tom's old spot.
Yeah.
You know, the old apartment in the valley, the old frat house vibe.
Dead cockroaches on the ground. Oh my God.
Watching clips of when they turn the microwave or they turn the AC on or the microwave on, everything shuts down. Yes. They find a beer bong and Schwartz has to crush.
Not the
beer bong. It's like,
dude, what's up?
I can't believe it didn't have a name.
I know.
It's like, you're not going to call it Old Faithful or something like that?
Yeah, the Triton.
The Mighty Bong?
Yes, like, seriously.
Give it a name.
And then he does one. And no one wanted him to either. Did you notice that? Sandoval's like on his phone doing something. Ariana's like, why are you doing this? And then like, he just does it by himself. And he's like, whoa. And it's like, dude, no one wanted you to do that. Like, no one was like, please, that would be fun if we all did it. No one else did it either.
It was kind of sad.
It was so sad.
It was kind of sad because he's like, you guys, there's 2 beers here. It's fate. It's destiny. Sando, me and you, a final like, beer bong. And they're like, no.
He's like, okay, I'll do it by myself. And he's like, bleh. And it's like, why did you do this? It was good content, though, I will say. I laughed.
But that was another moment that made me feel really, like, ill and sad because you see the 3 of them together having flashbacks of the 3 of them spending all this time in that apartment and just seeing what then someone's selfish actions do to ruin something that had been a friendship of so many years, you know? And now it's like there's this place that had so many memories and it's
amazing it's amazing when you think about how much work it takes to build something and how little work it takes to destroy it. Right?
Yeah.
It's like one action can destroy decades of growth and build. So it's like, really just puts into perspective like the weight of your actions. That like one wrong choice can ruin decades of relationships. It's interesting.
I know.
It's like it's a tall tale of like, man, you know, and all of us in our lives, it's like, it's insane to say take these people as examples, but there is a thing of like,
oh, for sure.
Look at their journey.
I think that's what reality TV does for us a lot of times. We're able to look at it and be like, okay, like, or you go, okay, well, this person did this, and this is an interesting life lesson to take away from it.
It's fascinating.
Yeah. But that made me feel sad. A moment that made me laugh was when we saw manager Peter.
Gosh, that was rough.
Where Raquel had to re-break up with him because the scene that we had initially saw where Raquel broke up with manager Peter and was like, this isn't going anywhere. We had seen that happen. I believe it was at Schwartz and Sandy's and at the Daily Mail party. And Raquel ends it with him and he took it pretty casually. And then we find out, well, yeah, he took it casually because he was blackout drunk and didn't remember anything.
See, I have a theory.
Okay.
I think he remembered it.
Stop it.
I think he remembered it because you see him when he's talking to Raquel and he's not falling over. He's not like his eyes is rolling back in his head and she's telling him. He's sitting there like totally intently. I think he was hoping that she like realized her mistake or something. Oh my God. That's the vibe I get. Because, and it was so cringe when he walks up to James, you know, and he's like, hey, just want to know, whatever. And James immediately starts insulting him. Like, she doesn't like you at all. And I don't care. It's your stupid relationship anyway. And you're the worst anyway. And he's like, yo, chill. Like, I don't know why you're attacking me. you know how certain people just have I almost feel like he, to them, not to me, but to them, just like has the metaphorical or like, where they just think they can just say anything they want to him and just insult him, and he just kind of takes it and walks away. Like he kind of has that energy with them where like he just keeps coming back because he just wants to be in the friend hang so bad. And so like, even just when they went outside and he goes, so like, I don't remember that conversation at all. It's crazy. And then, first of all, how did you know they had a conversation? You know what I mean? I guess maybe James told him that they had a conversation. I'm just going like, why are you bringing up a conversation you don't remember?
Yeah.
Or else you would have been like, what's up? Hey, how are you? You wouldn't have even known that like that happened if you truly didn't know. So the fact that he's like, can we talk about the specific conversation we had that I don't remember at all randomly? You're like, okay. I think you were hoping that she kind of like backs down. But then the worst was when he goes, by the way, you couldn't break my heart, just so you know.
I know. I was like, Peter, not with the exit line. Not with the exit line. Just go, okay, yeah, well, it's a bummer to hear, but you know what? Hear ya. And it was nice hanging out. And,
he goes, well, you couldn't break my heart. And she goes, good, well, we're on the same page. And he's like, well, I was hoping that would insult you and make you feel like you want to come back to me. It's like, that was
like, he's very golden fedora.
Oh my gosh. His suit too. His suit is like, it is literally like Prince Charming suit. Like it's super tight at the waist and big at the chest. So it kind of like, it's got this like welcome to Vegas vibe. You know what I mean? So everything about the guy is just, you know, he's harmless, but he's the king of cringe for sure.
Yeah. It's huge golden fedora energy. And it definitely felt like,
he's like, well, you know, I do have 3,000 makeouts under my belt.
It's just like,
you know, I have reached platinum level makeout status. Like the fact that you are not interested in me and you know that I'm a platinum level makeout artist is insane to me.
It's just very much like, well, I read from the pickup artist that you have to insult the person
Always.
And then they will want to come back to you. So of course this is going to work. You know, you could never break my heart.
And
my
she's
heart
like,
is
good, I'm glad we're on the
unbreakable.
same page.
And
And he's like, God, I got to retrain. I've not been training as diligently as I have with my fedora on.
Gotta go back to step one.
God,
damn it.
I'm only on level 46 now instead of 47. I got to report to my commander in chief, you know, because I have like a leader that I report to. How many makeouts did I get this week?
Unreal.
Oh, I did want to discuss one little beef I have that I feel like we talked about early on in this process, but like re-watching this is the Charlie situation.
Yeah.
And I'm going like, she kind of escaped without getting hate, because I'm going like, or maybe not that much, because I'm going, wait a second. We're watching this clip before the girls' trip of Charlie sitting next to Katie, totally chumming it up with her, talking shit on Raquel, going, yeah, I know, isn't that shitty? Oh yeah, I totally feel the same way. That they're like totally being homies. And then she invites her to the girls' trip, and then at first sign of issues, swears out everyone, disses Katie, and leaves with Raquel and has Raquel's back the whole time. And I'm going, how has she escaped without being like, because I'm going like, this person was like your homie. You guys are sitting there, friends, talking, confiding in each other. She's agreeing with everything you say. And then it right away is straight up ditching your party with your biggest enemy and then goes with her to the guys' night. To leave one of your really good friends' birthdays with the enemy right there and then like mock at people and make fun of people and curse everyone out as you're leaving and like, let's get out of here, Raquel. I'm going, dude, if she's not as bad as the Sheena situation, she's right next to her. Yeah, no,
that whole thing I was very confused by, because I will say this, you know, with the whole Sheena situation, I obviously didn't agree with the fact that Sheena didn't understand where Katie was coming from, and that was frustrating. But I do know that Sheena and then Raquel are super close, and that like Raquel, you know, Sheena was helping her with where she was living, and so clearly they're like very tight. So then I understood Sheena then having her back in that situation before she knew everything about Raquel. So I was a little bit like, with the whole Sheena Katie debacle, I'm like, I side with Katie and wish that Sheena would see that perspective, but I also wasn't feeling like, oh, I didn't ever feel like Sheena
it
was
felt
out
like,
to get Katie.
No,
it was
felt
just
like
more
a misstep, and she went for the like clicks for her podcast over her friend, and that was a mistake. But it never felt like nearly as poignant as Charlie's.
The Charlie thing, when I saw that clip, that was pretty shocking to me, with Charlie sitting next to Katie in this episode talking about like, well, can you believe Raquel? And
moments before the trip where she betrays her entirely.
4 days beforehand. And so I thought when I was watching their time together in Vegas and Havasu that I was like, maybe I think Charlie just knows Raquel better and maybe is closer to her in that way. So then she's going to have her back, even though she got invited. And I thought that was like so not cool because Katie brought you and then you have this energy. But then seeing that moment where she was then kind of talking shit on Raquel to Katie and then turns around, I'm like, what is going on?
Personally, I think that Charlie saw Raquel starting to gain popularity in the group. She saw Katie's star waning. Beef with Sheena, no longer with Schwartz. Everyone's still. I think she saw the future in her mind and thought, I think I got to attach myself to Raquel because she's doing really well.
Yeah. Well, I know has not spoken to Raquel because I did hear in interviews that she knew nothing about what was going on and that her and Raquel ended up having some beef behind the scenes too, where Raquel was treating her super poorly. And when Charlie, I guess, was one of the ones who then started to be part of the confrontation with like, is anything else going on? Like, what's happening? And Raquel was not being a good friend to her. And then she started to see that. But yeah, no, I felt that too. I was like, what? Am
I missing something here?
I'm like, I do not like this vibe at all.
Not at all.
At all. Oh, and then before we get to the real meat of the situation with two specific scenes with Sandoval and Raquel, another moment that made me laugh so hard was when we saw Schwartz go out on his first essential date, blind date from Hinge. And he was like, there's this thing called Hinge. I don't know if you've ever heard of it
Please.
There's this thing called Hinge. And so he had his first date post-divorce. And the level to which I was laughing when the server came up and asked his date, Kendall, what would you like to drink? And Kendall said, a water. And then the server looks at Schwartz and Schwartz is like, I'm going to take a shot and a light beer. And I'm like, Schwartz, I understand if you want to have a drink, your date ordered water, maybe just say a light beer. Okay, but
glass of wine,
this
something.
This person sits down, orders a water, and you're like, I'm gonna need a row of shots. I'm gonna need some light beers. Keep them coming. Keep them coming.
I'm gonna need a Jaeger shot, a sex on the beach, and a pina colada double. It was just like, are you partying?
In fact, I brought the beer bong. So can you just bring out a nonstop flow of beer? Because I did bring the beer bong from the apartment. I'm gonna need to do that a couple times.
Also, the shot and the beer is the classic. I'm on the road to getting drunk.
Yeah, of course.
For all of you who maybe don't drink that much out there, it's like in your 20s, that was the move. When you were 21 years old, you'd go to a frat bar or a bar like that.
And you get the deal.
And the special was always a shot and a beer for cheap. And so it was always like, so for him to go on a date and say, I'm not going to have a nice glass of white wine or a beer. I'm going to do a
martini.
Give me the shot of Jameson and a PBR. Basically like thing in order to like, we're starting off getting ripped, boys, golf trip. Like that's what he did on his date. It was insane.
And then he's talking to her.
Shot in a beer while the other person's getting a water is so wild.
And then he's talking to her and he's like, okay, hypothetical. Okay. There's a friend of mine. The guy's name is John. Okay.
Yeah.
And John, this is, by the way, 2 seconds after he told her that he had just gotten divorced. Yes. Within 2 seconds, he goes, hypothetical, I got a friend. His name's John. John just got a divorce. And his ex-partner said, please don't date anyone in the friend group. But then John ended up making out with one of the girls from the friend group. Nothing really more happened after that. But now ex-partner of John's won't talk to him and wants to end their relationship. How do you feel about John? Like, what is...
Well, it's like, that's like the book of dating 101. Don't bring up your ex within 10 seconds.
He's like, but I didn't because I said it's my hypothetical friend, John.
And so he's trying to get this stranger to sympathize with him. How about this stranger? Maybe I can get them on my side quickly. It's like, how about we just don't talk about your ex and the beef you have with your ex? Like,
he's like, how do you feel about John? She's like, this just sounds like, he did something that was human.
Human.
Yeah. And he's like, yeah.
I'm human.
John's a human.
Yeah.
John is just a human. This is really fun. This is so fun.
I've gotten you to agree with my points, I'm having a blast. Take my hand. We'll walk across the street and get more drinks somewhere. More shots and beers.
You know, it's so wild because I saw certain people discussing Schwartz and just everything that Schwartz is and how he can do these moves where you're like, what? It's like, what is going on upstairs right now? But then at the same time, the vocabulary on this guy.
Yeah, he threw out some words, didn't he?
Oh, always. He always, when he's speaking, will throw out these massive vocab words where I'm like, what?
What did he say?
I don't remember the specific
but
ones.
He's throwing them out. And because he plays like Golden Retriever dumb guy.
Yeah.
Like that's his character is like, oh, whoops me. I just slipped on a banana peel.
Yeah.
But then you kind of are starting to get it like, wait a second. I think you know what you're doing.
And I think I read
here.
that he like went pretty far in school. So like academically, I think he was like kind of crushing. And then you're hearing him with these like
little Legally Blonde vibes going on with him.
Yeah, maybe where you're like, there's this massive hypothetical or these massive vocabulary words that are getting thrown around.
Yeah.
In just casual conversation where you scratch your head and you're like, what is that?
I had a cataclysmic epiphany about a plethora of ideas. And you're just like, what?
It's like that, though.
Yeah. He'll throw those out and you're like, wait a second, are you playing us?
I know. Like, what are you up to, Schwartz? Okay, before we discuss the two big bombs, let's take a quick pause. Okay. Family, we have had plenty of discussions about my personal mental health struggles and what that has looked like for me, especially some big surges of anxiety lately. And in these recent years, I've tried to find different avenues and tools that can help me when I am in that space. And one thing that has genuinely helped me so much for years, Evan actually introduced me to it, is Headspace, okay? Headspace helps improve mental well-being through guided meditations, mindfulness practices, breathing and calming exercises, and so much more. These tools can help reduce stress, boost your mood, and help you sleep better.
Headspace combines scientifically proven benefits of meditation and mindfulness with modern practices through their experienced meditation teachers, with customized, personalized approaches to help you navigate through all of life moments, big and small. And the wide range of teachers with diverse backgrounds and areas of expertise ensure there's a teacher and content to help you, whether you're a first timer or have been practicing for years.
Headspace has the world's largest library of content with over 1,000 hours of clinically proven mindfulness exercises. And when you only have a few minutes to get in the right headspace, there are programs to do on the go when you're pressed for time. In fact, I used one of their short guided meditations in a 7-minute Uber drive the other day. I was feeling really anxious about what I was about to step into, and I popped my headphones in and I listened to this short meditation from Headspace, and it helped my breathing and helped me regulate some of my fearful thoughts. And it was so helpful. I love the quick moments that they have on Headspace as well. A whole variety of everything.
Headspace has helped me and more than 100 million people worldwide. They can help you too. Listen up. You do not want to miss this. We've arranged something really special. For a limited time, all of you can try Headspace free for 60 days by going to headspace.com/momdad60. You won't find this offer anywhere else. You must use our link, HEADSPACE.com/momdad60 to unlock all of Headspace free for 60 days. This is not something they normally do. Headspace.com/momdad60.
So summer is here, and my favorite thing about summer is the family dinners together outside when the sun is setting. It is magical. What cannot be magical for me is the whole cooking the dinner part, because, well, we all know I can struggle in the kitchen and also struggle with the whole going to the grocery store and the list and not knowing what exact spices and oils to get and all of that. Well, with HelloFresh, I don't have to worry about any of that. With HelloFresh, I am a grade A chef babe, and I can quickly and easily get these delicious meals on the table for my family.
Oh, it's the best. HelloFresh delivers mouth-watering, chef-crafted recipes and fresh ingredients to your door so you can spend your summer doing, well, whatever you want. Get farm-to-table quality with every HelloFresh box. HelloFresh's seasonal ingredients are picked at peak ripeness and travel from the farm to your doorstep in less than 7 days for fresh flavor in every single bite. Stuck in a recipe rut? Take a bite out of something new with 40 recipes to choose from weekly. With options to please even the pickiest eaters, you'll always find meals everyone at the table will enjoy. And by the way, need dinner ready like now? Well, look for quick and easy recipes on the HelloFresh menu, including fast and fresh options ready in just 15 minutes or less.
It truly is incredible how fast it is. And also, we are talking pre-portioned ingredients, which not only makes it easier, but also helps reduce food waste. And I have to tell you, HelloFresh Market has new snacks, meals, and more to add on your weekly order, like their fun s'mores bundles for the kids. It's so fun right now during summer. And again, with it being summer, HelloFresh makes entertaining easy with a selection of crowd-pleasing eats like their bratwurst bar with caramelized onions, Dijonnaise slaw, and pineapple relish, or a snack board with pretzel bites, spiced bar nuts, and hot honey peach jam. Talk about an amazing array of entertaining options for people coming over to the house. Oh my gosh, and one more thing. HelloFresh is more convenient than grocery shopping, but did you know it's cheaper too? It's also 25% less expensive than takeout. Hello, it's amazing. Go to HelloFresh.com/MomDad16 and use code MomDad16 for 16 free meals plus free shipping. Again, go to HelloFresh.com/MomDad16 and use code MomDad16 for 16 free meals plus free shipping. HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. Okay, now for the two very world-rocking moments that happened in this episode. The first being a scene where this is right after the guys' night. Yeah. They end up having a hang at Tom Sandoval and Ariana's home. Again, we are talking 10 hours before. This is the very first time we now know that was the very first time that Raquel and Sandoval slept together. They slept together in her car outside of Tom and Ariana's home. 10 hours previously. So we see Tom and Ariana talking in their kitchen, and even just the conversation in general is like, I cannot now watching this believe what just happened previously. He's so casual, just like, wish you would have been there last night, missed you. And Ariana is processing through the death of Charlotte and is like, yeah, but this was going on, but I'm glad that you had a nice time. And he's talking about the night like nothing happened. And then Raquel walks in. Raquel has flowers for Ariana. And this is when the deeply insidious nature of all of this just feels so heightened. Because I don't know if the flowers are because of Charlotte passing. I don't know if it's just like here, you're hosting us, here are flowers. But she walks in with a huge smile on her face, hands Ariana these flowers, and we see Tom Sandoval and Raquel laughing, embracing, joking, and saying, oh my God, I don't even recognize you. It's been so long, and having this like giggle fest together. Like now we have this secret, and that happened last night. And just the ability for either of them with a conscience to see the person the next day, let alone that. But and then in front of Ariana is mind-blowing to me. Mind-blowing. I did not know that they saw each other the next day. I remember that they had that like hang, and we see that in the scene where they end up having the hang at Ariana and Sando's house later. But I assume that it was a few days later because, when you watch the show, you don't know what filming looks like. Yeah. And typically it'll be like, oh, it looks like it's back to back, but it actually was like a week apart or whatnot. This was hours afterwards.
Yeah, it's scary too, because it's like, he kind of holds on to the fact that he's only cheated twice before.
Yes.
But that level of comfortability, laughing, during their conversation, he's staring at her the whole time. This is a pro.
Yes.
This is someone who does this. I mean, to be that comfortable, to not be on edge, to not say, you know what, can we cancel the hang today? I'm not feeling up for it. Like nervously trying to get out of something, nervously trying to sneak it, whatever. But to just be like, have him come over. Give him a big hug right in front of the person you just cheated on. Laugh.
Don't even recognize you. Haven't seen you in ages.
Make silly jokes. Not even, and is like being really nice to Ariana too. So it's not even like he's being distant with her. He's being like complimentary and nice. So it's like, this is a professional. This is someone who's been doing this regularly. To be able to just come home hang out with the person you betrayed massively and be comfortable, that you don't.
And again, this is not a scene that we're seeing that they've been now hooking up for like 2 months under the cover of darkness and being like,
hours old.
We have to keep this secret. And they've been lying and lying and lying. And now the lies, have gotten out of control.
Yes.
And then they're able to be this. That in and of itself is terrible. Then that you're able to be in front of someone like Ariana and be comfortable. But that then... saying it's more palatable is a terrible way of saying it, but you can kind of compute a little more where you're like, oh, these people have been lying together and spurring each other on for however long, and now they're in front of this person. But the fact that this wasn't something that they've been sneaking around and hiding, this was after the first time that level of comfortability was there, is like, oh my God. Yeah,
it's really interesting because you kind of see both. We've been talking about this for a while now, but the two different personality types that I'm analyzing, at least, is like the way that Sandoval handles the situation feels extremely like a professional cheater, someone who's cheated a lot, very comfortable with kind of betraying someone, and then like 2 seconds later smiling to their face and saying, "Hey, how you been?" Mm-hmm. So that's the vibe I'm getting. Is like, this guy's a professional. He's a professional cheater. He does this all the time. This is another one. Right. And then you're getting so ballsy and you've gotten away with so many that like your ego's like, I'm never going to get caught anyway. So yeah, come over to the house and hang. Mm-hmm. That's one. And it's I've done this a lot to this person. So I've gotten used to, I don't have much sympathy anymore. It's like, I'm just used to betraying this person and they never find out and it's fine.
Yeah. Like the morality is out the
window. Out the door. But then you have the Raquel piece.
Yeah.
Which is, this is the first time that she's radically betrayed Ariana. Right. So it's like, maybe she's done it in the past with other friends, but this is the first time that she's totally ruined a life and betrayed one of her best friends. For her to walk in, smiles, talking about how Lala doesn't trust her around her man, laughing in her face, all this stuff. So she's intentionally bringing up conversations surrounding the possibility of what she just did, playing it off. That was when I was like, that's what I got creeped out, because it was like the Raquel piece is like, oh, this is your first time doing it, and the comfortability is like scary. If I was at least betraying someone, I'd cancel the hang. I'm going to stay home. I got to think through this. This is intense.
Yeah, I'm going to be sweating bullets in front of this person.
But to be comfortably showing up with a housewarming gift, basically, or a funeral gift or something, and then just to be like, what's up?
Yeah, and then later, like you said, the conversation that was happening, my jaw was on the floor when they're sitting around and Raquel is telling Ariana about what had happened in the girls' trip. Raquel is then talking about Oliver and how they had a cute makeout and it was fun. And you see Sandoval looking and he's kind of like trying to smile, but he's also, you can see the jealousy probably creeping in. And it's what's going on?
Or the nice one. I was getting the nice one. You're getting him way off our tail. Because you're talking about another guy.
Yeah, that's...
So now even the possibility of us being together is not, because you're talking about how you just made out with this guy 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
So you're not...
So she's off the trail.
I think he was thinking that. I think he was thinking, well
Interesting.
Done. Well
okay.
done.
Oof. Yikes.
Because he was like smiling. I didn't get jealousy. I got like, nice.
But then she like you said, makes the comment about that Lala says, I wouldn't be comfortable leaving you around my man.
Yeah.
And that was... I was physically shaking, thinking, oh my God.
Why are you even talking about this? But it's like...
The nerve to say that. But then it also harkened back to Raquel having those moments where she was looking directly into Katie's eyes and was like, I wanted to make out with Schwartz, but he was like not down. I'm like, well, you're just looking in her eyes and you're saying
that's
that.
What I'm saying.
Obviously that wasn't a lie and this is, but just...
But that's what I'm saying is it's eerie, her ability to look someone dead in the eye and tell them things they either don't want to hear but she feels, or lie right to their face and have not even a blip. She's able to sit in it and just go to Sheena. Remember when they're doing the craft thing,
right?
Just to go, and she to think that I'm some sort of homewrecker is just so far fetched.
Yeah, that was another moment.
Calmness in her deception is like, wild.
Yeah, that was another moment. Now, that was then one to me too, where I'm like, okay, that was a good amount of time in. So then her and Tom have been going back and forth. And again, knowing Sandoval's past, I'm sure he is trying to manipulate her. I'm sure he is trying to get her, coaching her, getting them on the same page, probably telling her that he is going to leave Ariana at this point. Like she had said that she thought that they were going to eventually be together. But yeah, there was that moment when then she says that to Sheena. And again, without kind of any emotion, is just like, yep, the idea that they think I'm a homewrecker is just out of control. And then again, we see a glimpse of what it's like to then be her friend on the other side, where of course Sheena believed her.
Right.
So then when Sheena's walking away going like, you guys, I swear I had no idea. I talked to her about these things. I, in a sense, confronted her about like, is this going on? What's happening? And we see a glimpse of what a conversation like that looked like, where then Raquel then even shared that she did spend the night, the jacuzzi night, but then that the boys were lying to Brock, which, by the way, ding, ding, ding. That was a moment where I was like, okay, Schwartz. So Schwartz and Sandoval had planned, they had obviously spoken, because they lied to Brock and both said that Raquel did not spend the night. That was jacuzzi night. That was after Ariana's grandma had passed away. So why would Schwartzy lie to cover that up if he didn't think anything else was going on? I'm like, all right, I think we know that Schwartz knew that there was hooking up happening the entire time, not just the one time, because then if you're covering up and lying then to Brock about, no, she didn't spend the night, we were just hanging out, you're kind of like, all right. I mean, you knew at this point that it was still happening or was continuing to happen, whatnot. But yeah, of course, then Sheena is going to believe her. And then Raquel's saying, yeah, they should have been honest, but I understand with the energy that they don't want to cause more of an issue. But yeah, I did spend the night. But no, of course, the fact that they're even alluding to me being this way is ridiculous. And you see Sheena fully believing it, which I would feel the same exact way. I would fully believe it too. I have a friend looking at me saying this, like 100%, I believe it.
You just kind of you're always going to believe your friend, you know?
100%. And again, it's the moment
unless you're
where
Lala.
Because Lala can sniff it out. And Lala smells all.
She's always smelling that stuff.
Lala is completely tuned in. She can smell it all from a mile away.
Way before
man.
She was like, something's up.
No, she knows.
Everyone's like, chill, Lala. You're
saw
so
her in
drama.
an interview.
And it was just like,
I saw her in an interview. She's like, you might not like me, but what you can't say is that I'm always right in the end.
Always right. Like, it kind of is crazy.
It's
she's
true.
Always
she
right.
always knows. Like years before, she's like,
she's a good people reader, man.
I know what's going on. She can smell it. But yeah, again, with the whole then Sheena Raquel moment, and of course Sheena believing, it's in the same moment that we see with Tom and Ariana and Raquel sitting on the floor, that Raquel is looking at Ariana saying, yeah, this is how they were treating me and the names that they were calling me and how they were making me feel, and that I shouldn't be left around any man. And so then, of course, Ariana is hearing this with the two of them sitting there. Of course, well, how could you suspect something with all these people coming at Ariana being like, do you think you turned a blind eye? It's like, okay, maybe down the road there were some moments where you're just trying to see the best in two people that you care about. But when you see something like that, it's like, of course she's not going to suspect anything. They're sitting right in front of her telling a story about all these things that happened without even a grimace, smiling, laughing. Of course Ariana's going to believe what they're saying and not suspect anything.
Yeah.
There's no way I would have suspected anything.
Tough. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I feel like once like you were hearing about the long hangouts and stuff, that's when like you would probably start being like, wait a second, something's up. But before that, why would you? I mean, right next to you, hanging out, laughing. You guys are confiding. Like, why would you
But again, even then thinking about the long hangouts, and we'll talk about this in a second, we hear Ariana talk about how, like, they're family.
Yeah,
she's like,
true.
Raquel, it's like, I adore her. You could never, we'll talk about it, but it's like, you could never say anything to make me not look at her and be like, that's family. So I'm thinking about if I'm Ariana and it's one of our, like, really, really close friends.
Yeah.
And I hear that you guys are alone together.
You're not thinking about it.
For example, when we hear them talking, Lala sharing with Lisa and some of the ladies later in the episode about how Sandoval, after the death of Ariana's grandma was just at the hang, partying, drinking, hanging out with Raquel, not leaving when she was calling. If I'm Ariana and you're my Tom in this situation, of course I'm furious at you. Because I'm like, why are you not, first of all, with me?
Yeah.
Second, the fact that I'm going through this and you're just out partying and you're not putting my feelings first and what I'm going through first, I'm furious at you. But I'm not thinking about one of our family, like our dear friends.
Yeah.
I'm just like, you're at a party. And then when other things get brought up to her, again, if I'm in Ariana's shoes and this is like a member of my family to me, essentially, and I hear that you guys were seen out together. Number one, we see Sandoval during the reunion when he was talking about their night at the Abbey, and he was like, no, we joined up with you guys. We were there with you guys, James. And James was like, no, you weren't. But he would then just kept going with the lie where he's like, no, we were. But even if I'm Ariana and I hear that you and one of our dear friends was spotted alone, if I feel that comfortable with that person, sure, there's feelings in me where I'm annoyed at you, where I'm like, I'm going through all this shit and you're just like out with our friend having fun, and that's bubbling up. But I'm hoping that like, no, this is family. Like there's no way.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. It's such a betrayal, and it's also just so like, how do you not like question everything going forward?
Then after that, we see Tom taking Ariana on a roller skating date.
Yeah.
Okay. This is right after the affair has begun.
Yes.
And we know that Ariana has been letting him know that she wants quality time with him. And now, but of course, he's going to be like, let's have a one-on-one date together. Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh my God, you're so hot.
Yeah, the
and he's like, but
complimenting
you're sweating because it's hot outside. But it's just like...
It's like he was complimenting her like crazy. He goes, you're such a good, amazing mix of cute and hot, and you're so amazing. And it's like... Her red flag should have gone off there, knowing that they were really struggling, knowing that he was out constantly, and him all of a sudden being like 10 out of 10.
But you hope in your partner, but what you hope in your partner,
like,
it's like if you and I are struggling,
we're fighting or something,
and I'm like, babe, I just feel like you're not complimenting me enough, and we're not spending enough quality time together, that then you take me out on a date and you start complimenting me a lot. I'm like, okay, sure, it doesn't feel organic, but he's trying because I told him that I need him to do that more.
It's the hindsight's 2020 thing. It's like in hindsight, but it's like, yeah, knowing that he's complimenting her like crazy to get her off his tail, possibly, to find out about this affair is just dark.
Also, get the fuck out of here with your roller skating date in the middle of like a blazing Los Angeles day. Like,
sweating.
If you're doing that to me behind my back, where are the limousines? Where are the diamonds?
Sure. Roller skating.
Roll out the red carpet, not roller skates, honey.
Did you see that Lisa said she's like, I'd crystallize his balls if someone was trying to work on their relationship with me by taking me roller skating?
She crystallizes his balls and wear them as earrings.
Insane.
Yeah, give me your balls as crystallized jewelry. Give me the jewels if you're doing that, but you're just going to take me out.
Yours would be iPads, but yes, I know what you're saying. They would be.
Oh, eye patches.
Yeah, not an iPad. Eye patch. Sorry.
I was like, eye pads?
No,
what does
eye
that mean?
patches.
Yes, I'd be wearing those on my eyes, obviously. But yeah, just it's LA, and that time last year was ripping hot.
It was 110 degrees.
And you're just going to go and do an alone roller skating thing, which, let's be real, the only reason that he chose roller skating is because he wanted to dress with the theme. He wanted to wear his bell bottoms, and he's like, I'm going to look so good.
He wanted to show his athleticism.
Yeah, he's like, I'm going to look so good in 70s chic, and he's got his fit on, and he's going backwards and like throws himself against things, and he's like, oh yeah.
And it's like, they probably did that for 15 minutes because it was too hot. They probably did it for 15 minutes, and they were like, okay, let's get out of here. It's too hot.
And it probably ended there. And she's probably like, oh, are we going to go get a drink and get dinner after? He's like, no, I got stuff going on.
Shot in a beer.
Shot in a beer.
Gosh.
Oof. But in that conversation, that is when Ariana is talking about what's going on with the girls and how they're feeling about Raquel. And that's when she's saying, like, they're going to have to try so hard to try to get me not to be absolutely in love with Raquel.
And he uses a really weird word. He goes, yeah, I mean, like, we're all such good friends, and it's so nice to have such a transparent relationship. It's like, talk about like, what is that when you like expose
when you're
yourself.
like showing your cards.
Yeah, accidentally. When you're almost like you can't help yourself. But it's like to use the word transparent is so weird.
It's such a weird way to describe a relationship.
I've never once said, "Oh, Jess, I love your friends. We have such a transparent relationship." It's like, no, we're great friends. We love doing the same things. We laugh.
We have a great time.
We have everyone's so funny all the time.
And if you're trying to describe, the fact that you guys are able to talk about things together that might be tough, it's like, we're able to get deep and we're open, but transparent.
Like that's maybe how you describe like a business relationship to someone. It's great. We work really well together. We're really transparent with each other. It's like, okay, but like, to talk about your girl's friend and say me and her have a transparent relationship. I mean, that is literally like saying, it's crazy. We don't cheat either.
I mean, he might as well have said that.
He might as well have been like, I just feel like we have such a good relationship with Raquel. Like, I don't cheat on you with her. Like, what? Nothing.
Wait,
I'm saying.
I'm just saying, like, it's.
If I were to, like, I wouldn't hook up with her.
What I'm saying is basically like, obviously like she's a really attractive girl, but like at the end of the day, like we're all so close that like even if anything were to happen with me and you, Ariana, like there's no way I would ever like think of her that way. So like it's all completely safe here.
Like a good example would be like last night when they had the guys' night. Like there's no way I would have hooked up with her after her, like in her car or whatever.
There's
like,
absolutely no way. Like
I
just don't think about her that way.
It's
like because we have such a transparent relationship.
Gosh, it's weird.
But that was just a gut punch. Because Ariana talking about how deeply she loved Raquel and referring to them as family. That was a moment where, throughout the reunion, there were these nuggets where we see Raquel, it seems to me, attempt to downplay her and Ariana's relationship, where she was like, well, I just didn't feel comfortable coming to you. Like, I didn't really share that much with you. Like, I just felt more comfortable with Sandoval, and I shared a lot with him, and we had that type of deep relationship. And you could tell that Raquel was trying to downplay what her and Ariana had together. And because of this Secrets Revealed episode, you see these moments where you're like, oh, no. These people are very close.
Yes.
And I heard in an interview with Charlie as well that Charlie was explaining about how obviously, we see their hangs on camera and we don't know what's happening off camera. And some of the people aren't as close. I think she might have said something like, Lala has a child and she has a child, so they might not be around quite as much. But the people, some of the other people from the group, she said, I know you see us hanging out together on camera, but we are always together off camera. She's like, we spend so much time together and we're always partying, staying at each other's houses together constantly. So it's a deep relationship. It's not just like, oh, we're on camera every once in a while, see each other and we like each other the best out of the cast. It's like, no, these people are together all the time off camera. Like these are close friends.
Yes.
Close friends. And it's the same thing that happened too with Sandoval talking about James, where then Sandoval was trying to downplay his relationship with James. We end up seeing a screenshot of a text message where he's saying, love you, good night, brother. And it was in the midst of Ariana finding the video footage of Raquel and Sandoval still sending that message to James. But they're way closer than Sandoval is trying to act during the reunion. And then, of course, then James is deeply hurt because he's like, oh, I thought we were really close. Yeah. So fact of the matter is, we know they hang out together constantly off camera. So these people are very close.
Yes, 100%.
Very close. No matter how they're going to try to play off that they aren't. It's just not true. It's just not true. So those were some moments where you're like, it didn't end in a beautiful way, right? It wasn't like this episode didn't wrap and you weren't like, oh, wow, I feel so warm and fuzzy now. If anything, I felt kind of yuckier. But I was grateful for the episode because I was grateful for it for the sake of Ariana, especially because we did get to see these behind the scenes moments that made it very clear what it was looking like that we hadn't seen before.
I think it put a nice bookend to the whole thing.
Yeah.
To be like, not a nice bookend, but it put a bookend to the whole thing of like, all right, this is the actual reality of it. It's giving you perspective to watching it now with the context. Like, it really put into perspective, like, how intense it was to do this betrayal under all your friends' nose, under Ariana's nose, and live it. It almost gave like the feeling of this is what it was like to live it, to be in it every day, to be going on, like that's the reality, going on dates, having long conversations, having backyard barbecues, like doing all that in it, as opposed to like finding out later and thinking about the season you watched, but to kind of rewatch some of those moments, you're like, oh my God.
And then there was a clip towards the end that was so sweet to see with Ariana, when we saw the clip of Ariana and Lisa, and we found out that Lisa had had like a horseback riding accident and like shattered her leg in a bunch of places. And that Ariana was the one who was there for her.
Cheer her up.
And
so sweet.
seeing her at the stables with Lisa being like, do you want me to stand in that spot and like twerk and do something funny to like make you think of something else? It was just it was a moment of seeing Ariana of just what a big heart she has.
She's so sweet.
And how loving she is. And I liked that they had that moment at the very end, just be like, okay, this is the person who now this season we've been rooting and cheering for, and now seeing her get all these amazing deals and brand deals, and now being in like I think a Lifetime movie and all this stuff.
She deserves it.
That she's just a wonderful person.
Yeah,
and
it's awesome.
Yeah, but.
Wow, what an adventure.
It was an adventure, that's for sure. Oh my gosh.
Grateful for the insanity, provided fun content, it provided fun conversations.
Intense
Sad
conversations.
for everyone involved.
Yeah,
but
that was like devastating.
Devastating for everyone involved, except people who got to at least watch it and, be brought into the show. It did bring us into the show. We weren't really watchers before. It brought us in.
I know, we're
so
big
now I'm
fans.
excited to see what happens next season.
Yes. Well, definitely. Obviously, we're now going to be diving into the Bachelorette. We're going home, diving into the Bachelorette, but we will be making sure throughout upcoming episodes to keep you all updated if we hear anything Vanderpump related.
We'll do some updates throughout our stuff.
We'll make sure to still be checking in with the pulse of VPR.
100%.
Should we do a call home?
Oh, I would love that.
Let's talk to the family.
Miss the fam.
Remember, you can always call home.
Hi, Mom and Dad.
Hi.
This is Anna, and I just wanted to know. Okay, I also love you. Also, my last name's Ambrose, which is crazy.
Oh, true member of the
part
family.
of the family.
I just wanted to know if you guys are playing Zelda Tears of the Kingdom and how to help balance that with work life and social life, because I personally am struggling and have over 80 hours in the game. Okay. Love y'all so much. Okay, bye.
That's not a struggle. That's an accomplishment,
Wow.
Anna. We support you.
We support it.
I love that the call home line has become a Zelda only conversation.
Yeah. Did we do Zelda last week too?
Yes.
Did we really? Okay. We'll make this quick.
I don't want to make this quick.
Well,
I'll talk about Zelda for hours.
Here's what I do. First of all, I totally understand the temptation to just let it overtake your life. So yes, we have started Tears of the Kingdom very briefly.
Here's the issue. This is what's been going on. Like we shared, though, Evan has been
working
He's
nonstop.
been working 7 days a week nonstop for the past few months.
Yes.
So there really hasn't been any opportunity because you're getting home late.
Yes.
So by the time you get home, it's like we should probably go to bed. So we play for like 10 minutes. Like it's so brief. And I'm not going to lie to you. I feel a deep resentment because
Are we going to play tonight?
we better play tonight.
Let's go. We haven't played in like a week.
But I feel a deep resentment because when I knew that Tears of the Kingdom was coming out, I was like, this is our life now. And since you've been so busy, I've just had to wait and wait and wait.
Right.
And not indulge.
Right. Well, here's the thing. I actually have a really good tip for you.
Okay.
This is a really good tip. Don't play it on the Switch. Hook it up to your TV.
Okay.
Because I don't know your working situation, but if you don't work from home, but you have the Switch, then like every break you're playing. And you're in your car chilling, you're playing. You're going to go grab some food, you're playing. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Leave it at home plugged into the TV through the HDMI cable. That way, the only time you can play is like when, like, let's say you have roommates and they're using the TV, you can't play. So you got to put it on the main TV in the front room, connected to the HDMI. Therefore, the only time you can play is like when you're done with everything at the end of the day. Now, if you work from home, a lot more of a problem. Okay.
So the thing about this is, what's good for me is that I don't play it myself. I like watching Evan playing
Right.
it. It's definitely a thing from childhood. My best friend growing up was a big gamer, and I used to watch them play 24/7, and
Yeah.
I just loved it. Brought me so much peace just watching them play and me being part
So
of
for
the
you,
journey.
it's perfect. Your only enjoyment when I do it.
Is when you do it, but I work from home. So if I was working from home and I was playing, you better believe I would have nothing done right now.
Exactly, right.
Because you show me 5 minutes of Tears of the Kingdom. I've never seen anything more magical, anything more gorgeous.
It's
I've never
unbelievable.
felt more emotionally connected to anything in my life.
Yes.
And then I'm supposed to turn that off.
Yeah, exactly. So put yourself in a position where it's not so easy to play. So definitely number one, get it off the Switch. Even if you're at home. I remember I took it off the TV for like 2 days. I played nonstop. So even just having it connected to the TV means that like you gotta kind of get it ready. You gotta sit in the front room. Now you're taking up the front room. Now everyone's watching you play if you're like living with people. You know what I mean? It's a little bit more of a thing. So do that.
Yeah,
And
like if you have a roommate, the roommate comes home and they're like, "Oh, you're still playing," and then
here.
you're a little bit. It's kind of like the Netflix being like, "Are you still
It's
watching?"
like shaming you.
It's a
you
little
know
bit of
what
a
I mean?
reminder.
Yeah, and so do that. That's a huge one. And even if you live alone, it's still you'll just kind of like it's a little bit more of an annoying process to get started as opposed to just right next to you, just whip it out and play for 10 minutes and put it back.
Yeah.
Make it to where you got to walk to a location and play. That'll help a little bit. That's where I'll start. Anyway.
I think that those are all good ideas.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, at the end of the day, like you said, you've clocked 80 hours. And to that, I say bravo. You know, this is a time in our life. And, you know, how often are we going to get Tears of the Kingdom?
Yes,
you know what I
true.
mean? So if you're feeling guilty about it, just don't feel guilty about it because
that's
this
actually
is
a really
kind
good
of
point.
this is genuinely a once in a lifetime
Yes.
moment for so many of us. This is a new game that we're only going to ever get for the first time once. So of course.
And to your point, I would actually take that into consideration when you're playing.
Oh, yeah.
You're not going to get another game for maybe another 7 years.
Yeah, how long in
So if
between
you
Breath of the
burn
Wild?
through this,
There was
and you-
how many years between Breath of the
7.
Wild and Tears?
I think 7
okay,
years.
think about that. There
so
you go.
if you know that you're going to try to like power through this game and beat it, you're going to wake up in a month and be like, well, that's it. I got to wait another decade almost to get this game. Stretch it out. Know that, make it like a treat.
It's like when the Twilight books came out when I was in college. I remember ripping through the first one so fast and being like, oh my God, I'll read it again and trust
But
and believe. I
it's
read
over
it
now.
again over and over. But then I'm like, oh my God, there's only so many books.
Exactly.
And then I can't ever read it again for the first time. I wish I could go back, erase my memory and reread it.
But you can't.
But I can't.
So just know that. So those are a couple tips for you.
Because Evan and I personally, well, I shouldn't say I because I wasn't the one playing it. I was just observing. But Evan, you went through Breath of the Wild and you beat that real fast. Like
I went hard.
You went hard. And considering,
Knowing, but I knew that Tears of the Kingdom was coming.
yes. But with that being said, I felt sad after
Yes.
you beat it.
It was,
Because
a,
I
it
was
was a
like,
really sad moment, actually.
we both felt like
I almost cried, to be honest with you.
deeply emotional.
It was like heavy.
Because I was like, it's done now.
Like, oh my God.
Like it's done. Like we can go back and do some of the small missions and stuff. Of course, there's so much to do in the game, but I'm like, but like in general, it's done. Yes. And that was a grieving process, and it was sad.
So stretch it out. Know that it will come to an end quicker than you think, and so stretch it out.
I think that that's honestly the best tip that you can get. Just remember the value of it, and you don't want to burn through it
Agreed.
because there's nothing like that game, and you want to savor every second of
Better
it.
than any family love, anything you'll ever experience.
It's true. Okay, well, with that being said, now I know we need to do some work, but I also am like, let's just play
Should we play Zelda?
Zelda?
I think we should.
like
You just inspired me. Thank you.
So was going to make this episode a little bit longer, but to be honest, now my emotions have taken over. And if I don't get Zelda now, I will cry. So it's time.
We have been starved. It's time to
It's
indulge.
time to indulge in some Zelda. Family, we love you. We will see you next week. Back to a Wednesday, Friday episode. Again, check in on our Instagram. We will let you know what episodes are going to be coming out or what we're going to be talking about on Wednesday, Friday. Again, for sure, one of those episodes will be Cast Bio
I'm so
with
excited,
Charity's
you guys. Let's
Men.
go.
I cannot wait. Stay tuned. We love you.
We love you all.
And have a beautiful weekend, family.
Kisses and hugs.
Mwah.
Bye.
Bye.